Mysterious creatures can be found all over the world. Some of them are legendary monsters of old which have come to life, and some of them look as though they're from another planet. Mysterious creatures can end up being hoaxes or simply explained, while others end up being so weird and creepy that they have no explanation. Join us as we take a look at 5 most mysterious creatures caught in Germany. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5. Moorbach Monster. When it comes to the legendary werewolf, there are many stories that are told about the creature, and not just in modern times either. Werewolves have been mentioned in stories from all 4 corners of the world, and even Germany has its own scary tale of a werewolf who stalked the Rhineland town of Wittlich. The story of the legend of the Moorbach Monster begins with a soldier named Thomas Johannes Baptist Schwitzer, who was apparently a deserter from Napoleon's army and was part of the disaster that took place in Moscow. He ended up fleeing to his homeland of Alsace, France, but he isn't alone. Running along with him are a group of Russians who were also deserters. While this group of men was passing the village of Wittlich, the soldiers, who were exhausted and hungry, spotted a farmhouse and decided to ransack it and take what they want. In doing this, they are discovered by the farmer, but the men do away with the farmer and his sons. The farmer's wife witnesses this terrible deed and lets out a cry and curses Schwitzer. In her curse, she tells him that from this moment on, when the full moon rises, he will change into a rabid wolf, screaming in her anguish. Schwitzer then silences her. As time goes on, the curse starts to show itself as Schwitzer gradually begins to change. His personality becomes colder and harder, and he does many terrible things without having any inhibitions. The group of Russians he had been traveling with decided they had enough of him, and soon Schwitzer departs and starts to associate with bandits and highwaymen. However, as bad as they might have been, they were also appalled at Schwitzer's excesses and terrible behavior. He's become like an animal that not even the worst kind of human could stand to be around. The ex-soldier then flees into the sanctuary of the deep forests. From these forests, tales of a large wolf that walks like a man begin to spread throughout the countryside. Men and cattle end up missing, and people become more terrified of the legend. Schwitzer, however, is discovered one night sitting at his campfire in the woods by a group of villagers who believe he is the werewolf. They chase Schwitzer and corner him near the village of Moorbach. Of course, they dispatch him, and the villagers bury him at a crossing. A shrine is then built, and a candle placed upon the shrine burns continually. The legend states that as long as the candle remains burning, the werewolf will not return. Number 4. Hairless Creature. Sometimes mysterious creatures go straight from legend to reality. In 2007, a strange creature showed up online, and it sure looked unusual and almost spooky, and a couple of photos that somewhat resembled a werewolf. A lot of people tried to figure out what the creature was, and some thought that it looked like a cross between an elephant and a wolf. And as many people tried to figure out what it was, many were calling the whole thing a hoax, and the creature was just the creation of someone with really good photo editing skills. But just as everyone thought that they had this mysterious creature figured out, and definitely wrote it off as a hoax, it turned out that the creature was actually real. And for those who cry hoax all the time, let this be a lesson to you. What was soon discovered after this was not only was the creature mysterious, but the actual reason that the creature looks so bizarre is another mystery in itself. The creature in the photos is actually a bear that has nearly lost all of its hair and lives in a zoo in Leipzig, Germany. During the spring of 2007, this bear, which is called a spectacled bear, lost all of its fur, except for some small patches around its head and neck. But it wasn't just this bear, but all the female bears who were being kept at the zoo. Now, you might be thinking at this time that this is a normal occurrence and maybe this bear loses its hair sometime during the year. However, it's never happened before, and scientists are stumped and have no idea what caused the loss of the bear's fur. This species of bear originally comes from South America. They're actually the only bear that is known to live in that region. Some Ecuadorian custodians of this species of bear had seen the problem a decade before this happened, but were still unable to explain it. One of the things that researchers decided to do was try to change the bear's diet and see if this was causing the problem. Now, here's the weird thing. These spectacled bears normally eat fruit and bamboo and a little bit of meat, but custodians of the bear decided to add some human food and some sugary drinks like Coca-Cola to their diet. Thinking that this human food might be the problem, custodians stopped feeding the bear human food and any type of junk food, including Coca-Cola. Now, we don't have to tell you that this type of stuff isn't good for the human body, and it's certainly not good for animals. But what happened next probably isn't very surprising. Within 4 months, the bear's fur grew back completely. Number 3. Deep sea anglerfish. This next creature is probably one of the scariest and most ghastly looking things you will ever see for the rest of the year. In the deep northern Atlantic is what is known only as the deep sea anglerfish. German researchers Kirsten and Joachim Jacobsen are the ones that ended up capturing this creature on film. The fish has a ghostly glow from its wispy and glowing fishing lures and some small specks of light that illuminate her fins. The fish looks like something straight from a monster movie and has a frightening appearance and many sharp-looking teeth. It's the stuff of nightmares, and its behavior is even more bizarre than the look of the fish. The interesting thing about this fish is that it's never been seen alive and never before captured on film. It was in March of 2018 when the footage was captured by the researchers using a deep-sea submersible. The fish was spotted 2,600 feet below the surface, swimming through the inky black darkness, but she wasn't alone. Attached to her belly was a tiny parasitic mate which had fused himself to her underside. This was a never-before-seen thing and is probably one of the most bizarre mating rituals next to that of a black widow spider. The anglerfish is known for having long bioluminescent lit fishing lures which come from its terrifying head. It has a main lure right above its mouth which it uses to attract prey closer to its mouth. However, the bizarre glowing fish doesn't grab onto and chew its prey. Instead, the long pointy teeth are there simply to hold the prey as it swallows it whole. It can do this in one single gulp, swallowing fish larger than itself. And what about that parasitic male attached to her belly? It's obvious that the female and male anglerfish are extremely different. Think Alien Queen in this comparison. She is much bigger, much scarier looking, and grows to be 60 times larger than the male. That's 500,000 times heavier than the tiny male. The males have large eyes and huge nostrils, which it uses to smell the scent that the female emits. And if you thought it can't get any weirder, the male doesn't need to hunt for food. This species is symbiotic, in which the male bites onto the female, which allows the tissues and circulatory systems to fuse together. The female gives the male everything it needs for the rest of the pair's lives. One of these fish was spotted with almost 30 males attached to her stomach. This behavior would be impossible to see in an aquarium because the deep-sea fish can't survive the extreme pressure change and temperatures on the surface. But if you've never seen this one before, you get a chance to see it here on Top 5. Number 2. Alien Fetus. When it comes to mysterious creatures, some of them defy any explanation. Some of them end up being hoaxes, while others end up being real. In this day and age, it's kinda difficult to know what is real and what's not. When it comes to extraterrestrial aliens, there still isn't any definitive proof that they exist. However, because of all the UFO sightings and weird creatures that look like aliens that have been found, there could very well be extraterrestrials that have either visited us before in the past or could still be on their way. And of course, some people think that the aliens are hiding from us, and considering our behavior and treatment of our own planet, they might be warranted in doing so. But have aliens really been here on Earth before? Back in the 1700s, a strange and bizarre alien-looking creature was found. However, the specimen of the creature remained hidden until a German researcher by the name of Hartwig Hauserdorff uncovered evidence of what could very well be this alien creature. This strange and deformed-looking creature is like a deformed embryo, but it clearly doesn't look like any human. The specimen was dated 1735 and found in the town of Tauche, Germany. The strange alien-looking embryo was kept in a glass jar which was sitting on a shelf alongside many other strange and bizarre-looking creatures. Whatever's inside the jar definitely looks like something that came from another planet. The creature's about 1 foot tall and has huge almond-shaped eyes. The ears were very strange and it had a tiny nose. Of course, there are stories about where it could have come from, and one story says that a woman named Johanna Sophia Schmid gave birth to the creature. However, it was a stillborn and she was completely horrified by the look of it. Some people do believe that this is an alien fetus that was born to this German woman in the 18th century. One look at the odd creature's enough to make such conclusions. Number 1. Dog-like creature. Back in 2017, a mysterious creature was seen wandering the forest. The mysterious beast had everyone confused because while it looked like a dog, it also looked like a bear. The animal was captured and had people scratching their heads as to what it was. The face of the animal definitely looks like a bear. If it is some kind of dog, no one has ever seen this species of animal before. Many animal researchers have looked at the photos and haven't been able to make any sort of conclusion as to what kind of breed it could be. The more you look at the animal and try to see it's a dog, the more it starts to look like a bear. Whatever this mysterious creature is, it isn't friendly. The animal was captured, but the animal control people had a very tough time with the animal and said that it was very difficult and noxious. The animal isn't approachable at all and is in serious stress and fights back when people try to interact with it. Many volunteers tried to feed the dog with some of the best food you can give a dog, but the animal had no interest at all. It's not known if the creature was owned by someone or if it was simply just some freak of nature being, half wolf dog and half bear. Hope you enjoyed the video, Top 5ers. If you haven't already, check out our other channel, Americano, to enjoy even more amazing list videos. There'll be a link in the description, so check it out, as well as our other cool stuff.